Holy hell, it's 2022. Welcome back to the stream, everybody. Did you miss us? Hope everybody's doing well. Coming at you live from Miami, Florida. I'm up here in Pennsylvania. You can call me COVID Keith. Finally got me, but that's okay. Very, very, very mild. No big deal. As of right now. We're going to be looking at the moon tonight. It is Friday night. We have no restrictions on time. It is clear. It's still a little wobbly, but we'll take what we can get. Let's see what we can do, right? Might have a couple guests a little bit later. Hello to everybody in the chat. Hello to everybody watching. We will, we're going to hang out tonight for a little while. So get your popcorns, get your drinky poos, kick back and relax. Chat with some good old friends that you might not have seen for a while. I've noticed there are a couple other channels that are actually streaming the moon these days that weren't before, so that's kind of cool. We figured we'd tip our little hat back into the arena just to remind them. No, I'm just kidding. It's been a while, so we're gonna sit here and do this for a little bit tonight. Mark will probably join me later. I don't know. I haven't sent a message to Bill yet or any of that, but we'll figure it out. It is a little windy, as you can tell from the scope shake down there, but we'll get it. It's already a lot clearer than it has been for the last 4 streams that we've tried the last 4 months of 2021. So welcome to 2022. Let's get it. Anybody new? If you see anything running across the screen, whether it's satellites, aliens, doesn't matter what it is, timestamp it with the top clock in the top left corner of the screen. Timestamp the hour, the minute, and the second so other people can find it and confirm it, and we can mark it down under the timestamps and take a closer look later. On the top right of the screen, you will see the moon directions, the altitude, and the distance. It's all self-explanatory. And of course, in the bottom left, you will always see the scope that we are using. Tonight, we are using the 9.25, and we will also have the 80 millimeter wide field every now and then. The people that are used to being here know that already. This is just for the new people. And I will be back shortly. So glad to see everybody. Let's bring in 2022 right, even though we're 14 days in already. Whoops. Told you we'd be back. Once again, I'd like to welcome every back. Jeez, COVID's getting to me. Welcome everybody back to the stream. First one of 2022. We will be around a lot more often this year. Just wanted to let you guys know. Any new people? Once again, people that usually come here already know this, but just in case, if you happen to see something fly by the screen, whether it be a satellite, some aliens, whatever, to timestamp it, use the clock on screen in the top left corner. Use the hour, the minute, and the second so other people can go back and look at it, because we are in DVR mode, so you can go live back and check something out. So we can confirm it and put the timestamp up on screen to look at even more closely later after the broadcast. And if we find anything awesome, then I'll do an isolation video for that, and I'll put that up on the channel for everybody to look at with zoomed in and everything. The top right, the moon direction, that's basically where you walk outside. That's where it is in the sky. That's your coordinates. The moon altitude, that's basically how many degrees above the horizon it is. As the moon rises, the numbers go up. As it falls towards the other horizon, the numbers start going down. And of course, the moon distance is self-explanatory. That's how far the moon is from Earth at the current time. But down in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see whatever scope is being used at the current time. We have two scopes tonight. We have the 9.25, which we're looking at right now. Of course, this is Aristarchus Plateau, with the white crater down at the bottom right of this area actually being Aristarchus Crater. A beautiful area. It's looking really good tonight. We do have some shimmering and whatnot, but that's classic for Miami. It helps us out in some ways looking at other planets, but looking and zooming in really close on the moon, it kind of negates that a little bit with the shimmering, but we deal with it. And besides that, Paul is live in Miami, Florida. He's live on top of a parking garage of a mall. I'm sitting here in Pennsylvania bringing this stream to you, and we welcome everybody. Welcome to everybody in the chat. We got Jared, Bailey, Los Brooklyn, Arvind, I hope I'm saying that right, Moon and Back, Justin T, Saturn Rings, Mr. Zeno, G, Baz. Oh, let me see if I have a participant list. It's usually not right, but we'll try. Wendy M, Tim Cook, C&D Boy, Cameron. I hope I'm not missing anybody, but yeah, and for everybody just watching, that's fine as well. Don't be afraid to participate in the chat. We try to run a very good chat here. Everybody pretty much gets along. I don't really put up with a lot of nonsense, and we really haven't had to in the last year or so with YouTube finally fixing their chat system for live streams. So everybody usually has a good time. And of course, welcome to William. Yeah, it just keeps adding and taking away people. If you're not chatting in the chat, it doesn't have you as a participant, but that's okay. Mark probably will be joining me here shortly. Maybe Bill, I'm not sure yet. Until then, we're just going to keep on zooming in because we're kind of right at the zenith time right now. And anybody doesn't know what zenith means, that means that the moon is at the highest point in the sky. It's the clearest views we're going to get. But we want to make sure to really concentrate on that and keep our eyes peeled. For anything. We have seen stuff fly by screen. There is, for anybody asking later, there is a whole UFO playlist on the channel that you can go look out past stuff. If we happen to identify it later, we will put a name on it. If it happens to be a satellite, we will name the satellite and put it there. If we can't figure out what something is, it'll remain a UFO. Not saying it's aliens, it's just something that we cannot identify. Our gold standard is for something to come into the screen, stop, and then shoot the other direction or on the 90 degree. That would be our Graceland, and we'd be on the news if that happens. So let's hope, fingers crossed. Everybody kick back and relax, meet the people in the chat, make new friends, and once again, I will be back with you shortly. Hopefully with Mark. He's done at 10 o'clock. He's on the radio right now. So let's hope. And I hope you like the music. It is the newest one that we have, the packs from YouTube. But hopefully it's not too bad. And maybe later we'll get some Dancing Thanos up here for everybody, because that seemed to be a hit when we were doing it in 2021. So, yep, everybody chill back. Just relax. Grab some drinks. It's a Friday night. Hang out with some new friends. Meet some new friends. And I'll be back shortly. Thanks, guys. Oh, by the way, I should add, if you're able to cast this stream onto a big TV or something like that, it looks way better than on any computer or phone screen or through any gaming console because of compression rates and whatnot. So if you have it on YouTube, turn it on. We are broadcasting in 1080p. We're not 4K yet because we have custom-made cameras that we haven't got the new sensors, the Sony sensors for yet. So yes, we're working on it. But until then, but yeah, if you look at it on a big screen TV, it's gorgeous, and you can see a lot more. Just to give you a heads up on that if you want. I keep forgetting to tell you stuff. Once again, last thing, you see the zones on the screen. Imagine 6 equal boxes. If we do happen to see something, along with the timestamp from the clock in the upper left corner of the screen, you can also put a zone that you saw it in. So just imagine 6 equal boxes separating the screen. Pick a zone and tell us what zone it was in so other people can find it. That's it. Okay, I'll be back. All right. For the new people, some of our regulars already know this. Me and Mark had done the math one time about viewing stuff on the surface of the moon. So when we did the math, it turns out if you just wanted to make the Apollo site, say Apollo 11 site, just 2 pixels, in order to just make that entire site, every place they went, just 2 pixels, you would need at minimal a 30-meter telescope. And that's just to make it 2 pixels. So yeah, all those areas are way too small. Anybody that ever tells you that they're seeing buildings on the moon and stuff like that, they're full of it. It looks like we're zooming in really far when we go in, full with this telescope. But in reality, when we did the math before, and once again, we've been doing this for 7-8 years now. When we did the math, even at our fullest zoom, which looks like we can see so much detail and everything, it's still like we're 16 to 18,000 miles away from the moon. So, yes, you won't see little lunar rovers, you won't see the flag, you won't see any of the Apollo sites or nothing like that, because they're just too small. We can't resolve something that small from Earth. So, unfortunately, no. But what we can see is stuff in orbit, and what we can see is stuff crossing the face. And we can see new impacts if they happen to happen. Even if it's a small, say, a 1-foot little boulder meteorite that hits, it's going to create a pretty big dust plume that we should be able to see. So yeah, if you see there's buildings on the moon, or somebody tells you that there's clouds on the moon, that's all too, you won't be able to see any of that. Sorry, it's not going to happen. We did end up catching a meteor impact back during the super blood moon a couple years back. And there's just a bright flash real quick, and that was awesome. So yeah, just a little food for thought. If you want to see the moon up close and see it like super up close where you can zoom in, your best is to go to the LRO Quick Map. That is the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter that is actually orbiting the moon, taking high definition photos of everything, and they update it once they take new photos. That's the best way to actually get to look at the moon's surface up close and personal. You can get really close. I think you can see anything larger than a meter. So it's really good, and you can get lost on that site for days. Just make sure you have a computer that has a pretty good RAM on it, because it does take up a lot, because they are all TIFF images that are spliced together and everything. So it does take a lot of power on your computer to do. But yeah, it's a wonderful site. So remember, LRO Quick Map. You can Google it; it'll take you right to it, and you can play all day zooming in on anything you could ever want. Size-wise, the smallest craters you see here are probably no less than 12 to 15 miles wide. And that's the small ones, the little dot ones that are dotted all over the place.
pas de soleil, 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 pas de soleil.
We're going to leave it on this view here for about 10 minutes and just do an object watch for a little bit while Paul goes refills his coffee and stuff. So, yeah, we're just looking for any kind of movement, satellites passing, anything like that, and enjoy the beauty of the moon. I'm still going to try to get a hold of Mark, so that's still coming yet. So we got a long night ahead of us, people, so let's finally, let's do it. All right. So, what I'm going to have to do is actually I'm going to have to silence the stream for a little stretch just so I can call Mark. That way when I call him on Skype, it doesn't blow everybody's ears out because for some reason Skype is so freaking loud. It just, it's so annoying. But you'll hear silence. There won't be any music. There won't be any me talking or anything like that. And then when we come back, we'll have with us TV Zone, Mark D'Antonio from NASA's Unexplained Files, What on Earth, Aliens on the Moon. You can see him pretty much anywhere. He did a Hudson Valley UFO documentary not too long ago for Paramount Networks, I believe. And he just got finished up with Don Ecker's radio program on KGRA. Mark also has his radio show there Sunday nights. I believe it is 8 to 10, but maybe now it's 6 to 8. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask him when he get on. But anyway, you'll hear silence for a little bit, and then we'll be back with Mark D'Antonio. So hang tight. So yeah, hopefully you'll come through on that channel. Yeah, it sounds. Go ahead, say something.
I am here.
Yeah, okay, there we go. All right, let us know how the audio is, people. Let me know if I need to go up or down, or Mark needs to go up or down. And but yeah, with me now, Mark D'Antonio. What a good night so far. It's
Looks
been
great,
clear.
man.
It's been awesome. We've been zooming in.
Dumpster diving on the moon.
Dumpster diving on the moon, exactly. Yep. So what are you doing over there, hanging out with Don Ecker, huh? Leaving us to hang until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, Don wanted me on the show. I went on from 8 to 10. It was great. We talked about the James Webb, of course, and talked about other things. And Don has a penchant for talking about space travel and so forth. So it's pretty cool.
You have a bunch of people saying hi to you in the chat. So you have Rooney, and of course, my wifey Siobhan says hi.
Hey, Siobhan, how are you, honey? Nice to see you.
Bada boom.
Bada boom, how are you? Wait, bada
boom.
boom.
Bada boom says hi. Yeah, we're good.
Cool.
We've been switching back and forth between. It's actually quite surprising because I just kind of did this on a whim, and I messaged Paul earlier after me and you kind of spoke, and I was like, maybe it's going to be a nice night after all. And turns out it is. But now I'm not sure why we're getting so skippy on the...
Skippy on the trippy dippy.
Well, it's kind of skippy with the... I'm going to take down my viewing YouTube a little bit.
Sounds like a bitrate issue.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I open up Skype and start using it, Skype just takes so much freaking power. It's ridiculous.
That's weird.
And now it wants to go into the red and yellow and green and red and yellow and green and red and yellow and green and I don't know.
Because it's skippy on the output side too. It skips on the output. I don't know why it does that. That's what I mean.
It's not skipping anywhere else except for the output to YouTube.
Huh. Well, as usual, it's my fault.
Let me see here. Maybe I can. I don't know. Maybe I can fix something here. Hold on. To make it a little smoother.
Okin.
Output. There we go. I'm going to try to take this down. Try this. We'll apply that and see if it gets any better.
What'd you do?
I took the bit rate down from 4,000 to 3,000.
Oh, okay.
See if that'll help stabilize. It seems like it is. Yeah, it seems like the stream just stabilized. It's still a little scratchy, but it seems to be in the green now. So.
Yeah, your stream has a scratchy throat, man.
Yeah, but it's getting better. Slowly.
Good.
And I dropped it down to 720 viewing on my end. So everybody else should still be getting 1080p, no problem. All right, yeah. So I think we got it now. So what's up, man? How you been?
Oh, good, man. I've just been reveling with this telescope we have out there. The views are just unprecedented. I'm just so thrilled with how it's working,
Yeah, we were talking about the James Webb a little bit earlier, and I was telling people that it's pretty much going to change the course of human history. I don't know if that's overstating it, but I think it's absolutely true.
It's not changing the course of human history. That telescope, and right away for people who want to know, no, it's not going to be able to look at the moon or anywhere else like that because the moon reflects light, and light has in it our infrared component, which is heat. And the James Webb is being very, very carefully kept at minus 240 degrees easily on the dark side of it. So you're never going to end up with the James Webb being warmer than that. Right now on the cold side, it's minus 328 Fahrenheit. Okay, and that's right now as we speak. That's what it's like, and it's from the front side. It's 131 Fahrenheit.
Oh, you know what I forgot to do, and you know what?
You gotta hang up on me, aren't you?
No, you won't. You won't be able to hear this because it's through the soundboard on the what's it called? But I do still have this. I think hopefully the people in chat can hear this. But this is usually what we play when Mark comes aboard.
Oh, hi, Mark.
And I think it played. I don't know. You guys can tell me because I can't hear it either. It only goes to the output of the stream. So.
I just heard "Oh hi, Mark" come through. Yes. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the P&K Space Imaging stream. I happen to be poaching the stream tonight with Keith by invitation.
Yes,
it's a lot of fun.
As I said, the first
Yeah.
stream for us in 2022, we made it a good one. I mean, a little bit ago, we were peaking around 300 people watching, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Nowhere near our record. Just
No.
going to throw it out there for people. Our record is 66,066, which is kind of weird. But
Yeah, it is.
that's people viewing at one time. But we appreciate everybody that's here with us anyway, hanging out. And it's been a great crowd tonight. Really friendly people, a lot of questions. And by the way, if you guys have any questions about the moon or you want to know anything about telescoping, Mark is a professional astronomer. He will be glad to answer any questions you have. And he's a pretty smart cookie, way smarter than I am. And he has the patience to answer questions. So if you have any, post them in the chat and we'll get to them and hopefully we'll get answers for you.
Well, you know what? Okay, you say way smarter than I am. You know what? Honestly, I wasn't smart enough to know that streaming was a good way to bring astronomy to people. I wonder where I got that information. Keith.
Well,
Not from you.
Yeah.
Everybody has their pluses and minuses. Everybody has their strengths.
I have street smarts. You have the book smarts and the know-how.
No, I think that you actually have some pretty good smarts when it comes to broadcasting. I mean, you got a hell of a repertoire and background, good resume, stuff you've done.
A repertoire.
Yeah, repertoire, a repertoire.
A repertoire. Yeah. By the way, guys, you can actually go over what Mark does. We kind of have a team here between the three of us, between P&K and then Mark D'Antonio and then Bill New York Skywatcher. And what we kind of do, we used to have Astro Imaging Live. We kind of separated from that until we can find out a way to do it right. Because we want to be able to broadcast all three at the same time if we ever need to. But
Right.
You have us here at P&K. We do the planets and the moon up close and personal, as you can see. But if you head over to Mark's channel and subscribe, what Mark does is he does the deep space objects, and he does them live. You're talking about star systems, nebula, and he'll do that live, and he'll actually point that scope wherever you want him to go, and you get the images. And not only do you get the images, but then they go directly into, is that a Dropbox, I guess it is?
No, it's. I have a live server.
Okay, a live server that you can get the images. Right then
I pay
and there.
for a live server. I pay to have a live server, and I stick it up there, and people can go in there and see everything we've done all the way to last July. Okay, and they can go through all the images. They're all free. I don't charge a dime for any of these. You know, I do appreciate the support when I get support, but that's okay. Working on that. So there's a lot, you know, and you know, the links to the server are on my Facebook page. They're on the SkyTour live stream page. And it's very simple. You know, the link to, you know, where I am is just, you know, youtube.com/Mark D'Antonio.
Yep.
You know, and I'll just put that in the chat anyway, just in case someone wants to check it out.
Put a link to your channel. That way people can go over there and subscribe to it. As of last year, Mark was doing a lot more streaming than we were, but we're going to try to hit it hard again this year and try to do a lot more streaming than we did last year. But it's, I mean, we've been friends now for what? Man, has it been like 8, 10 years?
I'm
something
afraid
like that?
so. We've gone on,
Yeah,
dude.
wow.
You know, and we have actually met each other in person.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've gone to Pine Bush and he's gone to Pine Bush, and he came here because thanks to Keith, he actually took our telescope that's in the building out in our observatory in the desert out in Arizona. He took it from here. He took it all the way and drove it all the way to Arizona for us. So let me tell you, now that is great. Now, of course, he couldn't do it for nothing,
Right.
but he did do it in a way that he did it in a Yoder toter, but he did it in a way. Okay, he did it in a way that I was far more trusting and
temperature controlled.
Temperature controlled. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what can I say? You know, not to toot my own horn or anything, but some heroes don't need capes.
All right, temperature controller toter.
Temperature controlled Yoder toter. And by the way, anybody wondering what a Yoder toter is, that's what the Amish use, those big 15-passenger vans. We just took the seats out and put everything in there. So, yeah, that's what a Yoder toter is, if anybody's wondering.
Aristarchus.
You got it out there.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. And, you know, there was a problem with the circuit board inside the telescope, which was no fault of yours. And so when we installed it, it went haywire, and I literally had to take the installation apart the day after putting it up and drive it all the way 150 miles south to Tucson and had it serviced by Starizona. Starizona is absolutely fantastic. These people are great. They know what they're doing. They have a storefront. You can walk in and buy telescopes right there, and
Yeah.
it's great. And I'm telling you, man, they actually they leaped to the cause. They actually very helpful. They got SkyTour Livestream off the ground after it suffered what could have been a catastrophic failure.
Yeah, and
And now we're
it
up and
looks
running.
awesome. And it
Yeah.
looks like you have it now where it's all, collimated and focus
Yep.
is great.
Yep. I set it up now with a focusing system that focuses the telescope itself based on temperature, because sometimes as the temperature changes, the focus changes. And it used to be that I would go in, do an object, and say, "Oh, let me look and zoom in and see the focus," and see, "Oh no, the focus is off a little bit," and I have to spend time focusing it while people are waiting and waiting. Well, now it's beyond that. Now it just auto focuses itself automatically, and if the temperature gets colder, then the focus changes in that particular direction by the right amount. And I spent one night just calibrating focus, and I got it working now. And I literally didn't touch the focus the entire time. I did a private stream the other night, a private session for myself. Didn't even touch the focus, and it was perfect all night long. Never had that happen.
You guys
Woo-ha.
should see some of the images coming out of there. It's insane. You can even post a link to the image thing if you want to up in the chat so people can check it out. But he
All
does
right.
that live, and you guys can like tell him to go to a certain area of the sky or get some certain nebula or measure object, and he'll go over
Yeah,
there and snap a pic for you, and that way you can go
I
right
will.
onto the site and
Sure.
download it and play with it, and do some processing yourself if you want to.
Yeah, and I give people the stack. It's an astronomical format called FITS or FITS, but you don't need to worry about that because I also give you a PNG file, a PNG, a regular graphic file that shows all the processing done. You see the image that's almost in its final process state right off the telescope. That is far and
Like
away the best value
2 to
for
3
free.
minute delay maybe from the time he takes it to the time it's up on the site for download.
In fact, before we're done photographing an object, okay, the file is already being uploaded to the server. So it's leaving the observatory far out in the desert, heading up to a satellite, and heading down to a server where it's stored on the server immediately.
Yep.
Hey, Raymond Bobel is here. Hey, Ray.
Well, I'll
how
tell you
doing?
what, let's get, because we got some questions rolling in, obviously, for you, and you'd be the perfect person to answer these. So I'm just going to start right here where we are. So we got Pluto and Ann Ferry, I think it is. And she says, are there any moon mountains that are in the light?
A more appropriate question maybe is, are there any are there any areas on the moon that are in the dark? Most moon mountains are in the light. Okay, but the areas on the moon that you currently see, like on the image right here, that you see in the dark, will eventually have sunlight on them as the sun, rises in elevation and then decreases in elevation over time. But there are areas on the moon's south pole where light has never penetrated and never gone into. All right. One such crater is Cabeus crater. That's Cabeus, Cabeus. In fact, an LCROSS, LCROSS mission was launched. Remember that?
Yep.
It was launched to Cabeus crater, and it crashed into Cabeus crater, and a spectrometer was used to look at the debris being shed by this impact, and they discovered what they were hoping to see, and that was that there's ice in these craters, all right, bound into the soil. Very, very important finding, because if we go to the moon, we want to be able to have water, right? And in the lunar soils, we have helium-3. Helium-3 is an isotope of helium, but that's very important if we want to make fuel. So that's something that's a very important substance there. We have titanium on the moon. We have other metals on the moon. So it's really one of those things where we need to make a concerted effort to mine the moon and get there at some point. And I think that's something that's actually coming.
Right. Another question was, somebody asked, how deep are the craters? So this one needs a little bit of an explanation, but there's a way to actually tell. And I'll just give you the basic way to tell, and then Mark can go into more detail. But look at the shadow size. if you're looking at, you see how some of these craters don't have much of a shadow in them all, but some of them have a really predominant shadow inside of them. Those are going to be your deeper ones. And Mark, you can go into a further explanation of that, with sun
sure.
angle and all that stuff.
Yeah, and when you look at the moon, one of the things to understand is that every single crater is at a different depth than every other crater. And you might say, no, it's not. They all look to be the same depth. And that's a question I often get. It's a question you often get, Keith.
Yep.
Why is every crater the same depth? Well, that's the wrong question, because that's not true. Not every crater is at the same depth at all. And if you want to see exactly how deep the craters are, you can do it. There's a way to do it. And one of the ways to do it is to go onto the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter site, LRO. All right. And you're going to look up the LRO Quick Map.
Yep. We were talking about this earlier.
Good for you. That's good.
Yep.
And the LRO Quick Map location is where you can go, and there are some analysis tools that will allow you to draw a line across a crater and then see a profile of depth and so forth for that crater. And it's measured in what is known as the mean moon radius. So the moon has a radius of a certain size. Well, the statistical mean of that is taken as the base number. And so above that is a plus number, and below that it's a negative number. So you might see, like, 1,200. Okay, the height is 1,200. Well, that's 1,200 meters above the lunar mean radius. And you might see minus 4,000 meters. That's 4,000 meters below the mean moon radius. And that's where that number comes from. That's what it means. But you can see that profile, and as you move your cursor across your profile line, you see it on the screen moving across the crater. So you see right where in the crater it's that particular depth, and so forth. So you can see the differences in depth throughout the crater, because it changes. Not all craters are the same depth throughout themselves.
Right.
So it's really cool.
Saturn's Rings asks, PK, what software do you use for space imaging? We don't actually really use that many. You're looking at, it goes right from the camera. Paul sets it right into OBS and then sends me the feed. And then I pick up the feed and put it through P&K and then send it out to you. There really is no software besides OBS, which is a free broadcasting software.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, what you're seeing is just camera right to the mirror and then right to you.
And that's in actual true color right now.
Yep. You got it.
Usually if you shoot in black and white, you'll see it as, you can tell. It's weird, right? You look at the moon, it looks gray to most people, but in fact, the moon has got color in it. Mm-hmm. And you can see just below center here, you can see differences in the color. It actually almost looks like a purpley color. It's actually a different shade of gray. And it has to do with the composition of the lavas that oozed out of the crater impacts at that location.
Right.
And and what are the seas on Mars? I mean, seas on Mars. The seas on the moon, the dark gray areas. Those are areas of flood basalts, large impact craters that actually flooded and filled craters we'll never know about, and filled them. Like in the lower left there lower left at the lower. I wish I had a pointer. The lower left there, you see a round edge to the sea. It has a little cut in like a bay. That's a large crater that used to be there, but then got filled in by lava. That's just below Plato, which is that crater that you see near the left edge, that round dark area. That's a 60-mile diameter crater right there.
I'm trying to get a thing up for you real quick. That way you know which area you're talking about. I believe you're talking about right there. But we'll find out. To see it on YouTube.
Well, I'm talking about the Imbrium Basin area.
Yeah,
you got it. You got it. You're right. There you go. There you go, Sparky. You got it.
Sparky got it.
Yeah, that right there, that's a filled-in previous crater, okay? Filled in with lava. So again, there used to be craters all throughout this area, and now there isn't, and it's because lava overfilled these areas. However, on the dark side, as people say, or what we normally call the far side of the moon, because the moon is always half lit. It's a ball, so it's always half lit, all right? And the far side is at new moon. The full side is the far side is full moon. If you were at the other side of the moon, okay, so it's fully lit. But on that far side, there's almost none of these dark seas these marias that you see here, these dark gray areas on the dark side, on the far side. And why is that? Well, that is an interesting dilemma and an interesting foray into the evolution of the Earth. And when the Earth was first formed, it was a molten ball, obviously of rock, and the Moon, when it was formed, it became a orbiting molten ball of rock around the Earth. We probably had a ring for a period of time until they ended up forming a single cohesive moon out of it. And at that time, the Earth was still molten, and a lot of infrared energy was, leaving the Earth and heading out into space, going past the moon. And so, as the moon was picking up and getting impacted by many, many millions and millions and millions of meteorites and asteroids from deep space in those early days, because it was really chock full of stuff back then in our solar system, it ended up getting hit on the front and the back side. And it was already tidally locked to the Earth at that point, meaning it always had the same face facing us. So what happened was, as the front side was struck, it would throw this stuff all up into the space around the moon. Okay, all this debris would go up into the moon, the lunar sky, which of course is no air. So we call it the exosphere, not the atmosphere. Okay, so throw all this stuff into the exosphere, but the infrared energy coming from the Earth would tend to push that stuff. The radiation pressure of the infrared energy would tend to take this very high altitude stuff over the moon and throw it further back, and it would tend to push it over the lunar horizon as seen from the Earth, and push it past the border, basically, of the front from the backside, and it would deposit on the backside. So what would that do? That would tend over millions and millions of years to thicken the backside and thin the front side. And indeed, that's what we notice. We see that the moon is not perfectly round. In fact, the moon is also not doesn't have a center of gravity that's in its dead center. It's actually pushed toward the back some because of the extra material on the back side of the moon. So the front side is very thin relative to the back side. In terms of the trying to reach the molten interior at the time of the early Earth and Moon system.
Right.
Now, only the moon's core is potentially molten. Everything else is solid, which, by the way, is why the moon rings like a bell. It's not because it's hollow. Hitting them all, it's because of the fact that the moon is solid. Right in Keith's State in Pennsylvania, there's Ringing Rocks State Park. Yep. Chauvin, you gotta tell him take you there, because that's cool. You go there with a hammer and you hit rocks and they just ding and they ring like bells. I mean, it's really a lot of fun.
I will say goodnight to Odorous and Siobhan and anybody else that's going to bed for the night. We'll be here for a little while yet. By the way, what is the temperature, if there is? I know we're getting into technical stuff here, but of the moon in the sunlight.
I mean, it depends on the material, but first of all, right above the moon's surface, there is no temperature. You could be just like 5 millimeters above the moon's surface, and there's no temperature there. And the reason is because temperature needs atmosphere to exist. There's no atmosphere, so the only thing you can do in space is to absorb radiation, which will heat up the material, like the rock and soil, which you're talking about, and radiate that. All right. So in the sunlight, it's several hundred degrees, and in the shadows right next to it, it's minus several hundred degrees. But within the material, if it's packed, stacked material, if it's really, really thickly packed, or it's like a rock, then the heat will conduct through the object. Okay, we're talking about infrared energy now, which is light. And it will actually conduct through the object, causing the dark side to heat up a little bit more if it's in the sun. So you can have a front side that's absolutely freezing in the dark, and a back side that's absolutely scalding hot. And the moon. It's interesting. That's thanks to an atmosphere. We don't have that. But conduction in the rock will cause the moon to get warm everywhere. If you look at the moon in the infrared, there's really no cool spots on the moon in the sunlight. Okay,
Right.
there's conduction in the dark craters too. It just takes some time.
Saturn's Rings also wants to know what's a good camera do you recommend for beginners. There's tons out there. You can get them from Celestron or Meade. They both have pretty good cameras. If you're just looking for beginner stuff, that are more than fine. They have good little optics chips in them and whatnot. So it's really up to you. You can look at reviews on YouTube about a bunch of different ones and just choose which one you think would work the best for you. Best I can tell you on that.
But Saturn's Rings is also asking about an EOS camera.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a Canon camera here? Is that
Maybe.
Canon EOS?
Maybe. Nikon.
Rockstar loves Santa. Well, that's very nice, Rock.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Rock.
Says, where's the old equipment from the 60s? Behind the scenes, we will not be able to see that. I explained that kind of earlier, that stuff is just way too small for us to image.
It is. The Hubble couldn't even see it.
Yeah, we're just too far away, unfortunately.
Again, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, orbiting 60 miles above the moon, could just barely see that stuff.
Right, but it is there. If you go onto LRO Quick Map, you can go to all the Apollo sites and actually see all the stuff there on the surface.
Yep.
Even the flag shadow you can make out.
Yep.
And once you zoom in on that area, you'll realize how small that area actually is compared to the moon itself. As I said before, it looks like, when we zoom in with the big scope and whatnot, that we're really close, but we're still, tens of thousands of miles away viewing wise.
Yeah. Just imagine, okay, being at the moon and turning a telescope on the Earth and saying, how come I can't see cars?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with moon craters. Like if I dug two holes and one of them is, 18 inches deep and the other one is 24 inches deep, and you took a drone and hovered it above, and then I asked you which one is deeper, they're both going to look the same.
Well, they could,
it's all
depending
about
on the
perspective.
sunlight.
Yeah. So, it's the same kind of viewing thing. And then once again from Earth here, we have this thing, this dirty thing, this dirty word called, the Dawes limit or diffraction limit.
That's right.
Which is what cracks me up about some other channels we see, saying, oh, we're scanning the surface of the moon. And it's like, dude, you are nowhere near the surface of the moon.
Yeah. I mean,
no matter how big your telescope is, I don't care if you got a 24, you're nowhere near the surface of the moon looking at anything.
You can play with the Dawes limit is the resolution of your telescope, and it's based on literally only one parameter. It's the diameter of the telescope. How much light bucket capability it has, is defined as 4.56 over the diameter in inches, and that number comes out in arc seconds, and that tells you the Dawes limit of that particular telescope. And depending on whether your telescope's in meters or whatever, or millimeters, the number's a little bit different. If you want to do it specifically, if you really want to do your Dawes limit, it's 1.22 times the wavelength frequency in nanometers over the diameter of the telescope in meters. That's the actual Dawes limit calculation. But there are some,
and I'm lost.
And you're lost. And there's shortcuts to that, which is you can actually use 120 over D, 120 over the diameter of your telescope as well to get a value.
Right. Yeah. Math.
Math.
I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce that name, whatever it is, but it says, does the moon have a resonant sound?
Resonant sound?
Resonant sound, I'm sorry.
It looks like El Wheelie. El Wheelie. Okay.
Healy.
Yeah. Okay. It looks like El Wheelie. Does the moon have a resonant sound? Actually, it's a very interesting question because when the moon is ringing, there will be a frequency that is a higher amplitude than other frequencies. I don't know if they actually had a resonant sound that they calculated, and it could have been enough data to see the resonant sound on the moon, but everything has a resonant sound, everything. So I think that there would be a resonant sound. But what you're looking at here for the moon, almost all of it is solid now. There's a potentially molten core, and that can change a little bit of the resonant sound. But one thing we're not going to see are any of these big fat Maria opening up anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're not punching into a molten interior anymore. It's just the only thing that's going to be molten is the impact area where something strikes. and basically it's converting the energy of the motion of an impactor into the stopping force, which is translated to heat, and that's what you see. And well, as Keith knows, and he doesn't like me to say it because he missed it by a split second. We were watching the lunar eclipse back on January 20th, 2019, or something like that.
Yeah.
And
I actually mentioned this earlier that we caught one.
did you? Okay. Yeah. In the lower left segment of the moon there, down in Mare Imbrium area, which is that lower left gray Maria. I think it was there. Oh no, it might be down near Tycho actually, out of the picture down below. We actually, at the height of the lunar eclipse, we saw a white flash on the moon's surface, and it could have been a video artifact. We weren't sure what it was. We actually caught a meteor striking the moon, and there was only 5 other groups on the planet that caught that thing hitting the moon, and we were one of them. And we got it on tape, and it's in our. Okay, so we're looking for meteors now.
Yep.
Okay, well, the meteor struck in right where the 5 is in zone 5, just a little bit below that. So actually, it was really cool to see that. Never saw that before, and I just thought it was really neat.
Right. Well, Darth Nihilus asked, is it legal for non-government entities to send probes and to visit the moon?
I have a theory about that, Darth. I feel that the time will come in the future where universities will send probes to the moon and be able to just send, a rocket to the moon, because it'll be technology will be advanced enough where we'll actually be able to do a university rocket launch to the moon. And they won't send people; they can send probes. So I have a feeling they'll be able to make their own probes and navigate the moon. I see that coming. Right now, it's not legal because we have a lot of stuff up there. There's a space station. There is a bunch of orbiting satellites. There are thousands of Starlink satellites, which are vital for internet, which actually are the lifeblood for people already in some countries.
Right.
So they can't just launch. And you can't even do a launch to 120,000 feet with a balloon, which has a little, how people put those little figures and say, we're going to send this to space.
Yeah.
And they cross the Kármán line, and they want to go up and go into space or whatever. Well, they can't do it. Okay. Certainly can't do it with a balloon, but they launch anyway, and they launch to space. And luckily they don't hit an airliner or anything else that might be up there. Usually it's an aircraft. And they're not supposed to launch, but usually they get flight plans.
Right.
Yeah. They get permission.
People keep on asking what's a good telescope for beginners to use. I always recommend the 5SE or the 6SE from Celestron.
Yep, me too.
It's a good go-to scope. It's pre-programmed with a lot of stuff. It has really good imaging. You have a 5-6 inch mirror on either one.
It's a great startup scope. Yep.
It's a great starter scope, and they're pretty affordable too. So yeah, I go that way.
Yep.
My recommendation anyway.
Yeah.
Mead has a couple too, but
yeah, but no, I agree. I recommend the Celestron over Mead. We are using a 10-inch Mead system, Schmidt cascade system out in the observatory, and we have one behind me here for this observatory here. We're in the process of rebuilding this building, so we outgrew it. So this telescope is not in there right now. But I can tell you this. The Mead system out there, it comes as an F8, meaning it's, the F number is like cameras, okay? F22 is the smallest opening, F8's bigger, F2 is bigger still. So you can get more light in. You can take a faster picture with an F2 than an F22 or whatever. I used a refracting telescope that was 30 feet long that was like an F20, okay? So it was crazy.
By the way, that's probably the one he broke inside of a observatory and ran into the wall and everything.
I did.
Just gonna throw that out there. He's not perfect, people.
I'm not at all. So anyway,
I can see the professional guys coming in there, and there you are, like wrestling, like jumping on a telescope, like it's like a horse or something, trying to control it. I can see you on top of that thing, just like, oh, please stop, and you're just wrecking into the stairs with it and everything else.
And I was like, no.
Oh no!
You hear metal.
Horrible. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm picturing. Just like
Stop! What's that? What's that? Well,
a giant tube just bashing into a metal staircase.
it happened at 3 a.m,
Yeah.
and it was about 10 degrees in the dome. It was extremely cold. And then when it happened, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was going wrong because it's pitch black. I had to have the lights off because I was in the middle of doing an exposure.
Right.
And for the parallax program, and I had no idea what was going on. And then I realized, is that the telescope? And I put a flashlight on. I dared to turn the flashlight on, and I saw the telescope bending a 2-inch steel pole. And I was like, oh! It was one of the rails, the safety rails. That if you wasn't there, you'd fall, 35 feet down into a pit of horrors in the basement of the observatory.
Yeah. I don't know. I just have that vision in my head, like you
that
jumping on it, trying to save, this staircase.
That's effectively what it was.
Oh, boy.
It was extreme moment of panic.
Still funny, though. I can just imagine it. Because anybody that doesn't know, Mark was a menace when he was younger. When he was a kid. Like, he used to set stuff on fire, just trying to do science experiments in his backyard.
Well, it was science. Yeah, I mean,
that's what all psychopaths say. It's for science, I just murdered those 4 people for science, just to say.
No, hey, don't be trying to say I did that.
If there's some bodies in your parents' backyard, I wouldn't be surprised.
Don't be doubling things. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, well, still.
No, actually, the thing that's really cool is
man, look how clear that is right now.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I'm really impressed with this.
Better be, Mr.
That's
Astronomer.
That's the 9.25 too.
It's a 9. Listen. This is our favorite scope, because once again, guys, he can put out the 11-inch, he can put out the 14-inch, but for some reason this 9.25 has probably the best dialed in optics of all the scopes, and that's why we use it so much, because it's just freaking awesome.
Well, it's a product of a good camera too, and your cameras are specially made, so
yep, that's how we get her did.
Yeah,
Clavius too. Wow.
Yep.
Why did he go to 1080i? He must have reset the camera. I'll wait to see if he goes back into 1080p. By the way, for viewing, you do not want to go with interlace frames. It's just horrible. So whenever you can, if they give you an option for 780 or 720i or 1080i, never do that. Jump over to 720p or 1080p.
Explain the difference.
Really?
Well,
go ahead. You can do it.
No,
that's your kind of thing. I'm just saying, man. You don't want overlapping frames coming together, because it gives you more motion blur and stuff like that. So just trust me on this one. Stick with 1080p, progressive frame.
Fair enough. Did he change it over yet?
Yeah, he just did now.
Okay,
because we were wondering when we would move and scan before. This was probably 6 or 7 years ago. You'll see it pop on screen. You'll see a little bar.
I see it. I see it now.
But we were wondering why it was so blurry when he would move even slowly, and that's because it was interlacing the frames that we were sending out, and it gave too much blur and then too much false negative stuff. So we were like, switch it to the P, and it's been perfect ever since.
Okay, yeah. This crater is really interesting. See how it's elongated?
Yeah, Schiller. We were talking about that earlier too. Somebody that was in, I think it was, I don't remember. Maybe it was, I don't remember. Maybe it was Raymond.
Okay.
Maybe it was Raymond earlier. Yeah, Bobble, whatever. He was asking about the crater we were talking about that hit on a shallow angle. When we were talking about it on your stream, and I believe Schiller was the one he was talking about.
Yeah, if you notice, most craters are round, and people say, "Why are they round? Does that mean they always struck straight down?" The answer is no, and it's easy proof. I'll talk about Schiller in a minute. It's an easy proof. If you skip a stone across the water, you don't get any elliptical concentric circles. They're all round. Every place that the rock strikes as it's skipping across the water, it leaves a perfect round concentric ring that moves out from that spot. That's because there's a component of the energy going straight down, all right, that makes that happen. So as you skip, clip, bip, 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 across the surface of a lake, you're getting all these perfectly round concentric circles. However, at the end of the run, when the rock runs out of energy, it might just slide a little bit and leave this elongated spot before it dips in. When you see an elongated crater, it's a lower energy impact. All right. When you see these round impacts, they're higher energy impacts. And they don't necessarily skip. They can hit it at many different angles. All right. And then the energy component going straight down will cause material to make or cause the energy to make a perfectly round crater. But the rays that they make, the stuff squirting out that you see, we call it ejecta. Okay.
Giggity.
Giggity.
Oh, hi,
Yeah.
Mark.
You want me to say it like that?
Oh, and the round rays, when you see the rays, oh, giggity. Oh, it makes me so excited. Woo.
I still
No,
like
but-
the conspiracy theory we started years back with Schiller Crater.
Yeah.
Anybody
that's
that
a big
doesn't know,
ship,
for the
yeah.
people who are watching, we tried to start a conspiracy theory just to see how far these conspiracy channels would take it. That Schiller Crater was actually where Oumuamua was parked before it broke off the moon.
Oh my
And,
god.
you know, when Oumuamua became like a big thing, you know, because it's basically in the shape of what an artist rendition of Oumuamua was, if you look at it. And we said,
Yes.
yeah, that's where it was parked at. It launched off the moon, and now it's going around. And, so
And
it
then-
got picked up by a couple dummies.
And then we found out that Oumuamua actually was pancake shaped.
Yeah,
And very, very thin and flat.
it was a good try, though.
Yeah, but that's all right. I mean, Avi Loeb is a great Harvard astrophysicist, a friend I know. We did a couple shows together. And Avi had always thought Oumuamua had oddities in its behavior, which is why he wrote the book Extraterrestrial. It doesn't mean he said it was extraterrestrial in nature at all. He was saying that we can't discount the possibility. And he was crucified for that, because he's a man of science and they don't want him to say that stuff. It's like, well, it's becoming more mainstream now that there might be other possibilities, right? So I think it's kind of important that we reserve judgment when people talk about extraterrestrial life, because I think
Dude, don't even get me started, because this pisses me off more than anything.
What's that?
The ridicule scientists get when they start talking about aliens and the potential for alien life, and they get taken out of context. Or if they are serious about it, what's wrong with them having that opinion based on their research?
Yeah, I agree. And Avi,
ridiculous.
to his credit, Avi basically weathered the storm, and he wrote another book and doubled down on it. So I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. I told him I'm really happy with that.
Same.
That's good.
And then once again, everybody that's listening, myself, Mark, I'm pretty sure I can speak for you on this. We are not denying that aliens exist at all, whatsoever.
Well, we can't. We don't have any knowledge that they don't.
Exactly. We're not one of those channels that are just going to try to, debunk everything as, if we see something we can't explain, if something comes shooting into the camera right now, stops, and then goes shooting off 9 degrees somewhere else, that's a pretty big deal.
It really is.
That would be the first thing, clip I would send to Mark and say, hey, because Mark is a dream killer. A lot of the things I send him, he'd be like, yeah, it's probably this. And I'm like, well, now I hate you. You're a jerk. But, it gives us a level of credibility that we're not calling every little thing that passes in front of the moon an alien spaceship, which has done just horrible things for ufology in the last years with your secure teams and third phases and all that stuff, where every little thing that they see or falling for, CGI stuff, or in some cases, especially with those two channels, is making stuff themselves and claiming it's real. So
they'll say, we're not saying this is alien, but
there's a reason they're blacklisted, by MUFON and stuff like that, because it's, they've been caught creating, stuff. But I don't know. It's just, it's setting ufology back like decades, but we are in the era of, digital media and stuff, and you need to do stuff for clicks and, so, hey, what can you do? I don't like it. Some people don't like it, but if you want a real UFO channel, one that reviewing UFOs, there's a little channel called UFO Planet TV. Now it's maybe UFO Planet. There's a guy there. He's from Canada. He's an ex-police officer, and he just reviews these footages, and he'll tell you an honest opinion what he thinks it is, and some things he doesn't know. And he doesn't try to swashbuckle you and get you all hyped up about stuff. He just lays it out like it is, and it's probably the best UFO channel on YouTube. Just look up UFO Planet.
Is that Steve?
No, it's
What's
I'm
his
trying to
name?
remember the guy's name. He's a real nice guy.
Does he
Super
have
nice.
a bunch of offerings? He's got a lot of DVDs and stuff you can get too.
Oh no.
All right.
This guy has the single worst green screen studio of anybody I have ever seen in my life. But once again, he tries his best, to make a presentation out of it, and it's really good. Like, he's really knowledgeable about it. Once again, he's an ex-police officer in Canada. It's just, he's working with what he has.
Yeah.
And when the whole, adpocalypse happened, back in a lot of his channel got demonetized just because it had the tags UFOs and stuff like that. So I felt pretty bad for the guy. But, he's probably the most honest UFO channel on YouTube, hands down. And you guys should go check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember his name. I can actually look it up if I really want to. But anywho, Mark, you see any aliens lately?
No. I was asked about them several times over the last few days, but slow down, man. Paul, come on. Jesus, you're gonna go launching us right into this. See, he's doing dumpster diving again.
Yeah, we're dumping into the thing.
I love it.
By the way, Mark, we're supposed to do less talking.
Who said?
We can sit here in silence for a couple minutes if you want to, just to make Mr. Woodyacht happy. Believe me, Mr. Woodyacht, if there was something on the screen that we haven't seen before, we would be the first ones to point it out to you. No problem.
Oh, well, yeah, Mark Woodyacht, I am sorry that you don't like talking, but the channel's your choice to show up on. You can, but you are hearing things about the moon. If you know all this already, well, I'm sorry. That's cool.
Well, he's an expert.
Oh, everybody has their specialties, right?
Right. Yeah. But hey, what can you do?
That's okay. No, but yeah, I'd hear him out and hear why he would like that. I don't know if he made his case yet. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the thing with that, Mark, the Mark in the chat, I should say, is that we don't have control of the scope. Paul is controlling the scope, and he is outside, way away from a computer. So only, and as I said, we're about 25 seconds from him. So even when I say go back, he doesn't know exactly where to go back to. That's why he's constantly slowly scanning the moon's surface. That's one thing we haven't figured out yet. That's why we wish we were still in the world of Nextels, because it can be a lot easier just for me to boop them real quick and go, hey, stop. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, we can't do that because he's out running all the scopes and everything, and we're kind of sitting cozy. So yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, we can't just I mean, I can tell him ahead of time, say, hey, can you go to Schiller Crater? Can you go to Tycho? Or can you go to Aristarchus and stuff? And then he would get there. He would make his way down that way. But yeah, we can't go back.
I'm glad.
But eventually, I mean, as much scanning as he does, we will eventually end up back there. So no matter what you see, we'll eventually go back there again. And he's got a keen eye on a giant screen down there. And if he sees anything, he's definitely going to stay on it. So.
Yeah, and actually, Mark Woodyacht makes some valid points about what he's suggesting, but he didn't understand that we're not controlling the scope. See, with our stream, I'm in control of the scope, and I don't go anywhere until I hear from the chat to find out whether they're okay with me moving on, kind of a thing.
Right.
So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's down parts of being a 2-man operation, especially when you're 1,000 miles away from one another. But we try.
Yeah, Mark, thanks for the apology. That was cool, and no one's criticizing you at all, man. I'm glad that you're here. I'm sure Keith is.
Yeah, I turn up the sarcasm a lot. Don't take any offense.
Don't take it.
And feel free to give it back. I don't mind whatsoever.
Yeah, well, Keith can't take it, so don't bother Mark. He'll get.
Oh, you shut your mouth, astronomer.
See, I told you. He'll cry, take his toys and go home.
I'll drive up there to Connecticut and start slapping you around.
No, you come up here and steal more shit.
Probably. I probably would.
Yeah, they don't know that story.
Yeah.
He came up here one day and he saw that I had the original Jupiter 2 from Lost in Space back in the 60s, that TV show. And it was sitting here. It was a casting from the mold, and he ended up eyeballing it, and I kind of wanted to get rid of it. So I told him, if you want that, next thing you know, it's already rolling down the driveway. Goes in his truck. It's on its way down. It's like, okay.
Oh no! Let me tell you the funny story. Okay, guys, imagine this: Sicily, 1943. No, I'm just joking. So I get this thing from Mark. It looks like a giant UFO, right? And I have it in the back of my truck. because I have a pickup. I have a pretty large pickup. It's like a 350. It's a dually. And so I get this thing in the back, and this thing's still pretty big, so it's sticking out of the bed. And of course, I get lost coming back. So somehow, I don't know how, I end up in Yonkers, New York City.
Great place to go. With
so there's this giant truck. I look like such a redneck hillbilly with this giant UFO sticking up the back, like out of the back, driving through Yonkers, like totally out of place. Like people, like the dude, like I drove past one dude and his cigarette just like fell out of his mouth as he was looking. Yeah, nuts.
And he's like, I think that there's a UFO.
Yeah, it just most horrible thing. But we eventually got it back there, and then every time I go to Mark's, I end up taking something because it's either something he doesn't want or something that I wanted, and I wait till he goes upstairs or something and I steal it.
Here's the thing, okay. I'm an astronomer, yes, but what I do is I also own a visual effects company, so I have lots of toys here. Basically, it's stuff we've made over the years, made extras. I worked on a satellite project. I was going to Phoenix every month for several days at a time, taking photographs of the satellite being built out in Gilbert, Arizona, and I made models of this satellite for the company, and I had extras after this project was done, and I had them up. I had everybody over, and I basically gave each of them a satellite model, and it was about 12, 14 inches tall. Okay, and it was really kind of cool. It had the gold foil, the silver foil, looked really nice.
Still got my Google satellite.
I bet you do.
I do.
And
not getting it back either.
I don't want it back. I gave it away for a reason.
Well,
I have one left
good.
in here. I have one left.
Well, not for long. Thanks for letting me know.
I'll see you tomorrow. So I basically, okay, I was very, very happy to give it up and so forth. And I like giving things to people.
Hi, Mark.
It's the best gift is the one you don't see coming. So when I handed them the satellite, said, yeah, see these satellite here? Yeah. By the way, that's yours now. What? So I like that. I like when people are surprised and happy by, and they're making the time. They drove an hour and a half to get here to my shop. And I basically wanted to give them something for the leaving coming out.
Paul just sent me the picture of his because he has one too.
Yeah.
Yep, so Paul still got... See, I'm not the only one stealing shit.
You weren't stealing, though.
Yeah, true.
But I know I joked like that. So, bottom line is, okay, when we look at the moon, okay, you see all these craters, okay, like here, you see Aristarchus right there. Okay, you see that sinuous rill, the other craters. That Herschel or Herodotus? What's the name of that crater?
You can never remember the other crater.
I know. It's Herschel.
What kind of astronomer are you?
I'm not a lunar guy, but I am.
Better start being.
Well, I'm. Well, you better watch it because if I start streaming the moon,
you'll never catch up to us. I ain't worried about you. Just like we'll never catch up to you doing deep sky stuff. We can try. It'll just look like a big blue blurb in the middle.
I'll help you every step of the way.
Actually, don't try, Paul. He might even try it.
No, I know. So yeah. So anyway, that's pretty cool. And so what happened was we actually, I have access to all the United States Geological Survey data on the moon taken by LRO and the other probes. And what I do is I go up on their site and I log in and I get the data for these plates. And I actually make 4x4 3D images, 3D plates of lunar craters and areas around them. So I have an Aristarchus. I have the crater behind it.
Which I still don't have, by the way. Thanks.
I have one here.
For me?
Incidentally. Yeah, well, I have one.
It's going to be mine, so you might as well just let me have it.
Well, I do have... You're going to get it already. Right. So anyway, but so
I'll get that. I'm like Rocket from the Avengers. Every time Mark says something, I was like, "Oh, I'll get that crater."
That's funny.
He ain't hiding it from me.
Yeah,
I'm trying to look up the other crater besides Aristarchus.
All right. Well, just look for the Aristarchus Plateau and surrounding area.
Oh, doy.
Mark Whittier says, "Cool, that's excellent. Thanks for going easy on me." Yeah, we weren't going hard on you, man. You're all right.
Herodotus?
Herodotus. Yeah, there we go.
Herodotus.
There we go.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Well, didn't I say Herodotus? I said Herschel or Herodotus. I couldn't remember. Is that what I said?
I think you said Copernicus.
No, I didn't say Copernicus. Jesus.
No, you said, I don't
You
know
mean
what you said.
Copernicus?
Whatever you said, it was wrong. I know that.
Yes, I said Herschel or Herodotus, I thought. Anyway, Mark Widia says he's one of those good believers in man's ability to traverse the cosmos.
Me too.
From history till twilight. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that we're going to traverse the cosmos, Mark, and we're not going to do it with chemical rockets. We're not going to do it with fusion rockets. We still have a long way to go. But I think that we'll do it with the Alcubierre drive once we can get that technology proven for us.
Ooh, that's coming fast too.
Well, you know what? There's a great show on Netflix that you should look at and look for if you haven't seen it. It's called Another Life. It stars Katie Sackhoff, who was actually Starbuck in the new Battlestar Galactica series from some years back. And she is the captain of a starship that is doing stuff out in the cosmos. I don't want to give too much away. And they use the Alcubierre drive mechanism to actually go through space. And it's kind of cool to see a show that actually uses real scientific principles. Now, it's a sci-fi show, so they do meet aliens and do things, that are crazy. And there's an alien race that's actually, one particularly dangerous race that they meet and so forth.
Does there happen to be a super slow motion fight with an alien, like in the original Star Trek?
I'll be quick and merciful.
That even watching that back, like, I played it at 2 times speed, and it was still slow.
Still slow. Yeah, the Gorn.
Yeah.
You know
who played Gorn, right?
Yeah, there was a famous star that played Gorn.
Yeah, the same guy that played Lurch in the Addams Family.
Ted Cassidy. Yeah, really cool.
But man, that was a slow fight.
Yeah.
Wow. Just probably the worst fight sequence in film history.
Yeah.
Was that oh my Lord. I wish I had a clip of it right now. We could sit back here and just laugh for the next 30 minutes. And not only that, but how could he like not dodge those punches when they were coming in at a hot, maybe 0.25 miles per hour speed at your face.
3 centimeters per second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they made him all sweaty, like he was like really heated.
Yeah.
You can actually visit that place where they filmed that. These up in one of the canyons up in California.
Yeah.
Okay, Saturn's rings. What camera would you get? Nikon? I wouldn't get either. I have the P900. I know a couple people have the P1000. It depends what you're doing with it. If you're just going to, point it upward and shoot the moon, either one of them will do. They shoot the moon great. If you're looking to, do something else with it, I mean.
Now he's talking about the Nikon P900.
Yeah,
which
that's what I'm saying. I have the P900.
Well. It's called a super zoom camera. It can show the moon kind of like this, but not with this kind of detail. Again, we're looking at Dawes limit again. All right, it's a small lens. See, okay, see what it's saying. The Saturn's ring is asking P900 or a P950. I don't know the difference between the 950.
I think the 950 enables you. There's something that it does that the 900 doesn't, which actually they made standard on the P1000. And I think that's longer than 15-minute film, or you can hook it up for streaming and stuff like that. I think that's the difference.
Okay.
You can HDMI out, to keep it on. Like with the P900, you can only do 15 minutes of video. Even if you're streaming, it'll only do 15 minutes and then it'll shut off, which is weird. But
yeah. Who
knows? Good camera though. I mean, if you want pictures of the moon and stuff.
Yeah, I would say that the P900, P950, if you're not looking to connect it to another telescope, if you just want to use it as a singular standalone camera, because you can't take these lenses off. All right, you can't take the lens off of the P900. You can't take off the lens in the P950 and adapt it to a telescope. You can't do that. So. If you want to do that, then you're looking at a typical DSLR system like some of the other Canon EOS ones. And the thing to look for, if you want to do pictures of star clusters and nebulae, and do them fast to actually capture them without blurring them when you're using a telephoto, then you want to get a camera that goes up to an ISO of like 25,000 or so.
Right.
And many of them do now. I had the Sony A7S II for a number of years that I used on SkyTour Livestream East, and we kind of bit the bullet and jumped over the hurdle on that one, and went now to a dedicated astronomy camera and changed up the system in a really big way. Actually, the system that we're using now is more similar to the system that the Vera Rubin telescope being built in Chile right now is using than the original telescopes, where you have the camera hanging off the back. Our camera's hanging off the front of the telescope. It's essentially in the way, in a way. It doesn't block. It's not blocking any of the light, though.
That was a Starizona transformer,
That was.
huh?
That's right. A transformation done with Starizona using a product called Hyperstar. And that takes our telescope from that very slow photographic and optical f8 setting to the very, very fast f2. That's 25 times faster than f8.
By the way, you guys can see in the chat there that Paul just updated. He's doing a meridian flip real quick, so that's why the screen's black. Just so you know.
Okay. And Raymond Rainbow Bell says that Sony was a nice camera. Yes, it is. I have one here, and I will be selling it, by the way.
Not for long.
That doesn't go away for free. I have to get it.
But that one's
gonna. Well, you'll show up on one of my security cameras.
Nah, I got gum, spray paint.
Yeah, right.
Like, man, that really looks like Keith dressed as a Amazon driver. Wonder when Amazon started delivering packages in a dually.
How come it's a box that's already open? Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, the moon has melted into view. I hope no one else is seeing this moon rotating in the sky like this.
By the way, something else you can do with a camera, even if it's a DSLR, if you have a good zoom on it, you can also put your camera up on a tracking mount. That might help you out for longer exposures and stuff for further planets, and that would help you out as well.
Yeah, and a nice tracking mount. When he says that, those words may not mean much to you, but there's one out there called the Ioptron, IOPTRON. Ioptron tracker, and these are available for a few $100s.
Oh, hi, Mark.
And you can actually put your camera with its telephoto right on that mount, and it will guide to the stars. I actually did a lot of photos from the concrete slab before we ever had a building or a telescope in place out there in Arizona, and I just started doing night shots. And I was absolutely just stunned with how beautiful and how much detail that Ioptron mount allowed me to capture, because it guided so well on the night sky. It was beautiful.
Is that a star alignment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it helps you with it, and it gives you ways to align to the sky. I'm putting the I just put it in there. It's called the Ioptron tracker. Look it up if that's what you want to do.
Sounds like a transformer.
People love skulls. People love skulls. That's a heck of a name.
Can you view out to just view the stars? Yeah, we could. We can back it out, but we'd have to way overexpose the moon, and the moon's giving off a lot of light right now, so to kind of wash everything out, even if we weren't pointing at it. So yeah. That's why you don't see any stars right now, is because we're letting the light in for the moon, and the moon is very bright.
Yep.
The same reason why you didn't see them on the Apollo stuff. The moon is
right.
a bright place.
That's right. In fact, that's the reason you just said, like, you don't see the stars in these images, because the camera is set up to expose for the brightness of the moon. And when the astronauts are on it, it doesn't mean it's any less bright. It's still a bright surface. The gray is gray, but there's actually white soil on the moon too, in some places.
That's reflecting what, 12%?
Well, yeah, 18%, or more. 12, 13%. So yeah, and now that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot when you're trying to look for something really, really faint. Let me look at the rays of that crater at the top left. Okay, that's lighter material, okay? Or it may not be lighter material. It might be material that's actually rough and catches the light more, so it looks like that. So that's another thing that happens on the moon too. You know, roughness translates sometimes to brightness. I know it does with radar imagery, but that's a different story. But sometimes rough areas can capture more light.
By the way, Sipeth, that the mysterious square cube on the moon was actually just a rock. They
Oh, the hut, the Chinese hut. I did a story on that with my Skytour Radio astronomy show.
Mhm.
We're Skytour Radios on KGRA, and we do video. It's like a TV show now, and it's on Sunday nights, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And one of the stories we did was the Chinese Chang'e that had a little probe that it. That's funny. A little probe that it actually let loose and rode away, a rover. And the rover spied this object that happened to be like 80 meters away, just about 250 feet or more. And so it rode over to it, and nobody knew what it was, and the speculation was rampant, and the conspiracy started. And it got there and looked at it and saw, as I had said, it was probably a block thrown out by a crater that's probably nearby. They got there, they photographed it, and it was definitely a stone block, a rock block with some shadows on it. And right behind it, you saw a depression of an ancient crater that it had been made, that had made it and excavated it. And that's, that doesn't mean that I'm just Mr. Smarty Pants. It means that it's probably it was the most likely explanation from the very get-go. So that's not a big deal.
Yep. Saturn's rings once again. What's your favorite telescope to use? You're looking at it. 80 millimeters is probably one of my favorites for views, for clarity. Of course, the 9.25 is the go-to for the. I just love when Paul uses either one of these. They're both really really good optics. Which is why we use them.
Michael Clay says, a UHC filter or a moon filter. Actually, the UHC filter on the moon won't do much. The moon filter. That just kind of reduces and only lets in sort of like the green light, which is sort of like the primary light that comes from the sun, believe it or not. And so that light that you see coming in from the sun is going to strike the moon, reflects off the moon, and that filter, the moon filter, tends to bring in those frequencies that our eye is most sensitive to. And so that's why those exist. The only problem with them is that they are a specific color, and when you look away from the moon, everything has the complementary color shade that's crazy. It makes your eyes whacked out for a while.
Thanks again to Raymond. Yeah, you can gonna have me dispersing a lot of funds.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. You do not have to. It's just there for shits and giggles, if you will. Here to hang out. So
yeah, it's there for
Paul a shot.
Gits and shiggles.
Gits and shiggles.
Now there's a beautiful view there, that lower crater, lower center. You can see that lighter area around it. That's the ejecta that made some rays from that crater, but you also see that there was a molten outflow from this crater.
It's crater puke.
And it's basically effectively crater puke, yeah.
Yep.
And so that outflow went over there, and above it you see Copernicus crater, and it has the same kind of pattern. Very, very interesting stuff, and I just love the way the moon has evolved over time. But you got to keep in mind that the sun's rays strike the moon unimpeded. The full brunt of the UV radiation strikes the moon. That soil is as radiated as soil can get. And because of all the many impacts, and because there's no air on the moon, as soon as a crater is made and an impact happens and stuff flies up off the moon, that basically is going to that basically when it cools, it's going to become little pieces of glass. effectively.
Yeah.
And so the moon is the moon soil is very sharp. If you walk on it for any period of time, if you walked on the moon with regular sneakers, let's say you could, those regular sneakers would be sliced up, and so would your feet in no time. So
Easily.
is this Paul with his golf cart full of telescopes?
No, there's somebody wanted a picture of the setup, and that's basically one of the ones that we had from last year with the is that the 11 and the 9 and the I think that's not the Orion. It might be the Orion. I don't know, but there's a rough picture of how it's set up. You know, when we do it these nights.
Yeah, it's very cool. You know, and I can tell you that you know, Miami, where these are being imaged from, it does not have a good sky. But when it comes to the moon, it's good enough. And when you mentioned a UHC filter earlier, okay, that UHC filter, and that was Michael Klages that said we need a UHC filter. Okay, the UHC filter would be good in the city arena for looking, say, at nebulae and stuff. I'm actually using a UHCS filter in the telescope out west. And I honestly, I don't necessarily need it because the sky is so dark, but I'm using it because of the band passes it allows through. Yes, Michael, that's true. Light pollution, but I'm using it for the band passes that come through, which are hydrogen alpha, hydrogen beta, and oxygen 3. Those are the 3 components of nebulae of all kinds that we see, and galaxies a little bit. So we see some beautiful images using that UHCS filter. When Michael says these other filters for light pollution, well, I have an Orion light pollution filter that I used for a while. It's okay, but it's not sufficient in a sufficiently light polluted area, because then you end up with this really soft image that has data in it, but you can't enhance it.
The fuzz.
You can't really enhance it too well in really badly light polluted areas. So you know, we measure light pollution by a Bortle level, BORTLE, Bortle, and it goes from 1 to 9, and Bortle 9 area is as bright as possible, like the downtown Phoenix, okay, or any downtown city, downtown Miami, okay, and it's symbolized by a color white. Bortle 1 is dark gray to nothing, okay. There's really no Bortle 0 because we have sky glow on the planet. The atmosphere itself glows.
Bortle.
Yes, you said Bortle, Beavis.
Bortle. yeah, Bortle.
Yeah, and so my skies at the observatory are Bortle 3, and I think that's pretty cool. And the only reason I did Bortle 3 was because we still needed access to some local amenities, and so I had to make a decision. So the observatory is on a friend's land, and it's 11 feet by 11 feet in size, and it allows us to we can put 3 telescopes in there. We have 1 in there right now, and we're going to put a second one in there that's going to be a telescope that can do more zoomed in views. At f2, it's a wide field view. We have a 2 degree by 1.5 degree field. So our field we see is 4 full moons across by 3 full moons tall.
Look at that crater just coming into view on the top left there.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's a little better than earlier tonight.
Yeah.
You can watch it. You can watch the sunlight move. It's really great.
Yep. It hasn't went too much. Like it probably a couple decimal points percentage brightness anyway. But yeah, you can slowly see it. Creepy.
Yep. And that lit side of that crater coming into view is several hundred degrees Fahrenheit in the soil. Okay, and then inside it's negative several hundred degrees. But it'll warm up as the sunlight starts to strike. You know?
Crazy. I'm telling you, so it looks like the reason why I like Aristarchus so much, and I've told people this before, is because it looks like somebody cut it out of somewhere else and put it there. Like, it looks like it just doesn't belong. Somebody cut a square out of another part of the moon and just
It does
moved it
look
and put
that
it
way.
there.
It does look that way. So
Fantastic.
Mark Klages says he's in Huntsville, which is the Bortle 7 sky.
Ooh, Huntsville. A lot of NASA stuff down that way.
Yeah, but it is a bright sky, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Natalie says the moon is a pit stop, like a truck stop.
Well, for meteors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, if they've gone as far as they have, Natalie, to come to the Earth, they wouldn't bother stopping at the moon. They would just come right here because, it might be Pluto that's the pit stop for them, for all we know. Because if you're traveling light years, the distance from light years away to the moon and distance light years away to the Earth, there's no difference effectively. So they would just come here. And I think that if they're here, and I'm pretty sure they are in some form or have visited us, then they go where we are not, and that's in the deep ocean. And I have direct experience with possibilities that, that unknown submerged objects exist.
Yeah. I still think octopi are aliens.
Oh, yeah.
Can't tell me that they're not.
That's an interesting theory. I mean, the octopus to me is the most intelligent creature in the ocean.
Yeah, it's insane seeing some of the stuff they can do.
Yeah, I watched an experiment, which, as a science guy, I tend to do. It's sort of boring, I guess. But put it up on the big screen. I want to watch an octopus figure out a way out of this maze. And they have a maze of pipes. And next to that octopus in this little, tank is another octopus in another tank that's not connected to this one. And he's just watching the other octopus work his way through these pipes. And one of them leads out of the tank into the main aquarium where he was before. And so he gets away. And then you take the octopus that was in that tank watching this one and puts it into the tank where the other one was. And the octopus doesn't probe all the dead ends that the other one did. It goes right through the path that the other one had found after hours of trial and effort. It goes through the very same one that it did, and it leaves within seconds. Now
That shows really good memory.
It shows they're learning.
Yep.
It shows reasoning. I really think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they're aliens.
I think that octopi are very, very, very intelligent creatures.
Very close to it, anyway.
I know that the Japanese find them as a delicacy and they eat them in sushi.
Well, let's be honest. There's a lot of things that Chinese people won't eat.
I mean, Japanese,
Chinese, same difference. Almost.
No.
Asian. There's a lot of Asian.
No.
They like the sea stuff.
Yeah.
Fishes and octopus and.
Japan stands alone in this, and
eat turtles, don't they?
Yeah. One of the things, I had I went to a sushi bar with a friend one time, and because I spoke a little Japanese to the chef, he gave me an octopus as one to eat.
Yeah, I'd be sending that right back.
No, I mean,
especially if you ordered a steak.
I don't eat steak.
Well,
I had to eat it, and it was dead, of course, but it was okay. But you know what? I really felt like it was wrong to eat it. It was like the equivalent of like, okay, it's as if you serve a dog. It's like, I can't eat that. It was really hard, but I mean, it was a small octopus. It was only about 4 inches in diameter with its tentacles. Okay.
No, I don't want to eat anything with suction cups. I'm done.
No, I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
But
if that thing was crawling around 2 minutes earlier, like I won't even go in like into, how you can pick your lobster.
Yeah.
As soon as I make eye contact, I'm done. I'm like, no, sorry. Yeah.
I got a story about that.
Yeah.
So in any case, I thanked the chef. I said, "Arigato, son." I said, "Arigato."
Yeah.
And
arigato was right.
And
arigato
go. No. Yeah. No. So I ended up eating it, and it was okay. It was pickled, but you know what? That covered the taste.
No. So, pickled at that.
I never really eat another octopus.
What can we do to make octopus more disgusting? I don't know. Let's pickle it. No.
No. So the story I have revolves around the lobsters in the supermarket. This guy went in and he saw the lobster, and he decided, you know what, I'm going to make that a pet. He bought the lobster, brought it home in a little paper bag, and this lobster, who was thinking it was going to, thinking nothing probably, but whose destiny would have been to have been someone's meal and boiled alive, which I think is just such, I can't possibly do that. Well, anyway, this lobster ended up coming back to a tank specially made for it with sand and ocean environment, salinity the right way. And the guy took the elastics off the claws. And I found out that when those elastics are on those claws for as long as they are, it damages the muscles that open and close them. So he actually had to do physical therapy to get the lobster's claw strength back. So he made a tool that he 3D printed, which would pry open the claw and then allow the claw to close down on it again. And initially there was no power whatsoever. But over time, over a period of weeks, he got that back. And that lobster, after a year, has just been doing great. And he would feed it, clams. And he'd feed it earthworms, believe it or not. And basically, the thing has been thriving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I'm not going to go run to the supermarket and buy a lobster and have a pet.
Yeah.
But it is sort of a cheap man's pet, a cheap person's pet, right? Is a lobster.
Well, I mean, yeah. Somebody said that octopus tastes like rubber bands, and I could see that. No.
Well, it depends how it's cooked. I talked to a Greek guy who used to do it. Yeah, Leon the Lobster. You're absolutely right, Skrillex. It's Leon the Lobster. Very, very good. He saw the video too. So I have a whole bunch of people searching for Leon the Lobster. Thanks, Skrillex. That was cool. I talked to a Greek guy, and he used to eat lobster or octopus all the time. And the way he would tenderize it, so it didn't do that rubbery thing, is he would throw it on the sidewalk as hard as he could and keep throwing it on the sidewalk. That's like, he says you do that 40 or 50 times. He says it really tenderizes it.
Why does my octopus taste like blacktop?
Right. It tastes like sidewalk and silica.
My octopus tastes like burning.
Yeah, I just can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, like one thing. Okay, I can understand if if you need to eat stuff, which is fine. But like, what goes wrong in your head where you gotta say, all right, I gotta throw this thing like a baseball against a sidewalk 30 times just so it doesn't taste like rubber bands.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
I don't know. There's a moral line there for me. Maybe I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, in the same way people eat calamari, which is squid, and there you don't see any of the tentacles because they only cut those off and cut up the cephalon there, the head, and make it into rings, and that's what they put in there. And depending on how that's cooked, it could taste good.
They can have it.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And I like I've eaten calamari before, but I'm a big fan of the octopus. I did a whole radio show on the octopus one time as the most intelligent animal in the ocean.
Yeah. I get it, man.
Yeah, Pluto and Ferry says cuttlefish are very. Yeah, they are. The cuttlefish is interesting. The cuttlefish has sort of remained unchanged for millions of years. And I love the way that the moon. It just brightened up on me. The cuttlefish, has sort of stayed the same. The chambered nautilus has, that millions of years of evolution. What I miss?
Nothing. My cat decided it wants to talk now.
Oh, I heard that.
He's just walking around, just talking to himself.
Oh, okay.
So if you hear him in the background, just ignore
Oh,
him.
hi, Keith.
Yeah, right. I don't know why he does it. He just out of the blue just starts talking, like walking around the house, just talking to something.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah.
Ghosts.
Yep.
Looks at me like I'm crazy.
Well.
Anyway, you're looking at Schiller Crater. The reason why we got on octopus, if anybody didn't know, is because we think they're aliens. That's how we got there.
No. I know you think they're aliens. I think they're just a a specific line of evolution on the planet that as through adaptation they have done things to increase their level of intelligence. And I don't think they're alien. I just think that they are very intelligent creatures.
I think they're aliens.
Edward Petters says horseshoe crabs ancient. That's exactly right. Horseshoe crabs are probably the most unchanged creature. Actually, the earthworm has also remained relatively unchanged for 600 million years. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wonder what it tastes like when you throw it against a sidewalk.
I don't know. That's something not to find out.
Who figures that out? Serial killers. I bet you this will taste better if I just, lob it against a sidewalk 30, 40 times.
Well, serial killers lob Apple Jacks at the sidewalk 30 or 40 times.
Yeah. Human jerky. Man, oh man. I love how nice it is out tonight, though. This is a very rarity that
looks really
we're getting
nice
from Miami. And I think it's just because that storm's about to form. We're getting a nice a nice kick down to southern Florida.
Yeah. I did put our address in there, SkyTour live stream, if you want to see the live deep sky. www.youtube.com/Mark D'Antonio, one word. And it'll take you right to our site. So join and subscribe and hang out with us.
Join Mark live on the Sky Tour live stream on YouTube.
We are the deep sky magnates, I guess you would say.
You are a magnet.
Keith is from Pennsylvania.
I am sitting here in Amish country, Pennsylvania.
The low frequency, when you say things like that, it shows low intelligence.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put that name with that
low
comment.
Blood pressure, possibly a stroke.
Oh, man, that's high blood pressure, dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
a
check
blizzard.
that. Reverse.
Sharon has a blizzard where she is.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not sure what this storm's going to do. I think it's they're saying that coastal anyway, like us and even you, Mark, I think are just supposed to be rain.
We're gonna get
But then
Aranga Raj is from India. Hey, Aranga, how are you?
I was seeing a thing, and now they're starting to shift the computer models eastward. So if that's the case, we're gonna get dumped on with a blizzard because it's supposed to be like 60-mile-an-hour winds with this thing.
Yeah,
that's gonna be crazy.
Well, luckily, I don't have a dome to blow away anymore.
Right.
I had to. We outgrew the dome, so
many times I would Skype Mark during the day. He'd be like, "Oh, I'm out here fixing it because we had high winds last night. Something broke on the dome."
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I got rid of it. Is like I've got we have thousands of dollars of equipment in the dome, and over time you keep adding to it. One filter to bring you the stuff we bring you is $1,100. Yep. Just the glass 2 inches in diameter that goes in the telescope. That's crazy. But if you're gonna do this stuff right, this is what you have to do. So we actually started a GoFundMe, and the GoFundMe was supposed to cap out at $7,500, and people are still contributing to this day.
That's good.
We've gone over 15K.
Yeah, it's real good. I mean, that gets means people are interested and they like what you're doing.
Well, it's what we bring. I haven't taken a single penny of that money from me. It's in a fund that allows us. We don't have a lot left right now because we've spent it on all the equipment that we have out there. But we had to build the building. The building was $4,000 to build the building, and that was cheap.
Yep.
Okay. And we have a telescope in there with everything on it. We're looking at $10,000.
Yep.
We're looking at a computer in there that's very high end. It's all solid state.
Astronomy is not a cheap hobby.
Well, that's the thing. For us, it's not a hobby. Okay, it's my life. It's what I do. And so overall, we've got I'd say $20,000 tied up into that building, and so we spent a lot of our own money, and then the GoFundMe paid for the rest. I never imagined that we would have the kind of response that we had.
Well, that's kind of how me and Paul got started here, because me and Paul were basically doing the same thing. He was doing it down in Miami. I was doing it here in Pennsylvania. My scope was small. I think I was only running like a 6 SE at the time, and I was just kind of and that's how I got hooked up with Bill too. But then I'm like, well, what am I doing? Like, Paul had such better equipment and better know-how of operating it. And I was here, I had a little better understanding of networking and doing all that stuff. And I'm like, well, why aren't we bringing Paul to the masses? Because this work is amazing. So me and Paul got hooked up, and then we started doing this. And our main goal, we both were looking for UFOs. That's what started it all.
That's right.
And we still do to this day. But that's what got us into astronomy. But we also realized that we had to do it scientifically if we wanted to be taken seriously. If we ever did find anything, and that's why you have all this information on screen. It's really easy, and we've seen it, from some other channels that go out and take, 10 minutes of footage, standing with a telescope and then run inside and make 15 videos out of that 10 minutes of footage. We're like, well, we just want to do it live, so we can't be called out for, placing anything or CGI or anything like that. So if something happens here, you're going to see it as it happens with maybe a 25-second delay, and there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, that's YouTube.
Yeah. So that's why, and if you look back at some of our old stream stuff, guys, you'll see it on there. We streamed, a couple years ago stuff. We were streaming for 6-7 hours a night, getting all kinds of stuff. Thank you, Pluto Ann. So yeah, it's been crazy. And then we've taken trips out to Devil's Tower. We are at Monument Valley. Trying to do the best we can with internet signals and stuff. But that's going to continue to get better. And as we start taking more trips, we'll have better internet access to live stream from where we are, from a lot of darker sites.
I think that what you
can really see what this camera and scope can do.
What you need to do is just invest in a Starlink setup that you can take out and deploy wherever you go. We're set up for Starlink out in the desert, and we're going to increase our speed by 4 times. No, what am I saying? 10 times.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, 20 times what we have now. And even now we have enough to stream, but there's like a 1-second delay because we have to wait for the keystroke to go up to the satellite and get down to me. And I'm going through a slave program that takes over my computer in the dome in the building out there.
Right.
So there's a whole lot of time that's getting eaten up with that, but it's okay. It works fine.
Well, once again, I have to point out that, Paul is self-funded. Everything you see that he's using right here is all bought by him. This is stuff he had before we even decided to start teaming up. That's how deep his passion goes for the astronomy itself.
Yeah.
So going to, and don't get me wrong, I would not put it past Paul to get Starlink and, just to be able to do dark site stuff. But, stuff is pretty expensive just to have to use every once in a while compared to like fiber optic where he has that.
Yeah. Natalie says, "Oh no, don't tell me that don't," basically saying the flat mooners exist. No, that's an odd thing. People can claim the Earth is flat, but then they look at the moon and they say, "But it's round."
Yeah, but that's dying off too. Notice it was like, what was it back in 2016 and 17? It was Nibiru. Everything was Nibiru's coming. We're gonna die, and there's a whole bunch of these stupid Nibiru channels.
Yes,
claiming that this, and they stuck to their guns as much as they could, just making themselves look stupid. And then once everybody started moving on from that, it started becoming, well, the Earth is flat, and now even that's dying out. They've been ridiculed. You got channels like Cyman Dan and stuff just tackled them and tackled that whole nonsense. So it's just, we're gonna have waves. We're gonna have waves of stupidity. It's just gonna keep coming. If not one thing, this, especially in the age of the internet, conspiracy is just running rampant. Yeah, it's a headlight and grabbing, short attention span. Time in human history, and we'll pay for it eventually, and then we'll eventually grow out of it.
Yeah.
It's a good idea, Truth Seeker. Michael Clagues, maybe? No, go over and subscribe to Mark D'Antonio's channel. He's the one that does the deep sky stuff.
Yeah, that's I'll put up the link again if you want to go see it. It's www.youtube.com/Mark D'Antonio. And oops, hold on a second here. There we go. spell my own name right. There we go. Yep. There you go. And that'll get you to our site. Go ahead, subscribe, check it out, hang with us for a while. You'll enjoy it. We stream on most clear nights out there. We don't stream at the waxing gibbous and waning gibbous phases. So from that point of waxing gibbous to waning gibbous, we don't generally stream. But we have to look at clusters of stars and stuff. But the real true beauty is when we look at the deep sky without the moon in it. It's just so cool.
Really going in on Aristarchus.
Yeah, he is. That's Aristarchus.
On a really good night, he can really get to that rim. You can actually
Yeah.
see the rim details.
That's cool.
He might even lower the light a little bit just to take out that bright spot.
Oh, you can't see
Seems
that?
like what he's doing. I can, but it makes more sense for him to do it in camera.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Because he can actually set it to where he can see it.
Is he just dropping the gamma, or is he playing with contrast?
But you'll see. He's slowly doing it. It's a slow adjustment. You'll see the bright white slowly disappearing.
Yes, I can see already. There's more detail on the far side of the crater.
Yep. And then he'll zoom it.
Mhm.
And then I can do the touch-ups on this end, once he...
Right.
I'd live there.
Yeah, okay.
I would.
No, you probably wouldn't, though. That's the problem.
Put me right on the edge of that crater.
Yeah, okay.
Huh?
No?
You can put a house next to mine if you want.
No, you know what? How about this? No.
Well,
You know
just
why?
saying.
I gotta keep that pesky UV radiation out. You gotta keep the
I'm just saying, if it was
oxygen.
possible to have ourselves a little moon hut up there,
yeah.
imagine what
See,
your telescope could do from up there.
Yeah, I know you gotta keep the oxygen in. You keep the lack of oxygen out.
The vacuum of space.
Yeah, little things like that.
Little things. Nothing hard.
I want to say hi to PG, who's listening, who's not here in the chat.
Hello,
Well,
PG, who's listening.
Petita in Pennsylvania is listening. Hello there, Petita. Dun, da, da.
Yeah, let's just fill these craters up with water. Make lakes.
Right.
Feasible.
Yeah, lakes made with beaches of glassy sand that will slice you to pieces.
Yeah,
Drink
might
the
want to
water.
work on a magnetic field first, and
Yeah, need an atmosphere.
yeah, that might help.
Mm.
The water just doesn't turn to gas, separate.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't really see the Cobra Head yet by the rill there, the valley. Yeah, you can kind of see that. Just Herodotus up above. There's a volcanic rill, that has sort of a Cobra Head.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, can the aliens just get here already? I mean, it's about time, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
everybody's
sure.
like, with the whole COVID thing going on, it's like, yeah, it's about time. Bring us some good news. Like, don't come in and like destroy us like Independence Day. Just come in and say like, hi, like we're here, we see you. Here's cures for everything.
Yeah.
Good luck to you. See you in
Well-
100 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Very nice.
Yep. Absolutely.
Who knows?
Yep.
What time is it? I don't even know. Holy moly, it's midnight already.
It's midnighty, and yes.
How long have we been streaming? 3 hours. Wow.
Yeah.
And hello to Laura and JJD and Pocono Joe and Original Seed and Truth Seeker and Prow and Noodles and Michael and Low Frequency. To everybody else listening or participating in the chat. Welcome.
Yeah.
I feel I was right. There's no proof that there is, and there's also no proof that there isn't.
What's that?
Observational proof, I guess.
Well, actually, that's true, and so I don't quibble with that comment because of the fact that As a science guy, I can't say yes, there is life out there. I could just use my supposition and speculative
Right.
side of my head, and I do.
Yep.
I do, and I speculate that there is life elsewhere. I speculate there might be life under the surface of Mars as microbes. You know.
Yep.
So. Yeah. Yep. So the James Webb Telescope is 87% of the way to Lagrange 1. So it passed the moon.
Right.
Oh gosh, a long time ago. It's literally 784,000 miles from the Earth, and it's gonna be about 1,000,000 miles when it gets out there. And the moon's 240,000, 238,000. So it passed the moon after day 2, actually. So
And then have they started doing the mirror adjustments yet?
yeah, they started.
Yeah.
Yeah, they already started.
Nice.
Yep. They're
Can't
working
wait.
on segment B6 right now, actually.
That'd be funny. Like from the Mass Effect universe, if they just point that thing out past Pluto, and all of a sudden you see a relay, a mass relay.
In the Normandy. Mass Effect is one of the best games I've ever played.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I do like it.
So much thought went into it.
Yeah.
You know, original series, and the writing was great.
I think they should make a full-blown movie with live action.
They are. And Henry Cavill is scheduled to play Shepard.
Really?
Or is it Netflix, I think? Yeah.
Oh, that would be very cool.
Yep.
Yeah. And the music
Supposedly,
was
that's
good
what the
too. The
rumors are.
soundtrack for the game was really quite good.
Really well done. I actually have that.
Me too. I've nerded out on it. I geeked
Yeah.
out. I had to get it.
Yep. I mean, it's right up there, just as good as what's his name that does all the movies. The guy, like the guy that did the score for Interstellar and stuff. What's his name?
Not Zimmer.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer. Like
Hans Zimmer,
the
okay.
score for Mass Effect games is right up there with Hans Zimmer.
Wow.
Not as like
Lauren-
big, but you know.
Yeah. Laura Newman
done.
asked, well, maybe we expect to see images from the web. Well, unfortunately, don't expect to see images for the next 180 days or so. Actually, no. Where are we now? Okay.
June.
Nah, not for another 150 days or so.
June.
Yeah. Because they have to do all this calibration. They have to calibrate the scientific equipment. And then and only then. Or what's happening now is they're calibrating the mirrors, right?
Yep.
Segment by segment. And they're going to calibrate them so that they are aligned and line up with the secondary mirror, that thing sticking out way in the front. They all have to aim all their data onto that mirror, which can go then down through the central hole in the telescope. And that's something that has to happen. That's going to take months of time to see what's going on.
Patience, people, patience. No, we
Patience.
cannot see a blue lava lake on the moon.
Yeah, blue lava, of course, is burning sodium. And that's something that blue lava is actually kind of a strange phenomenon. And I think that when we look at blue lava, it's really cool because you see that here. I'm sorry, it's burning sulfur. My mistake. When sulfur actually combusts, it actually turns blue, and you see blue light. And we see blue lava in some Indonesian volcanoes. And I caught some of it over on Geldinga in Iceland. And I saw it on another volcano that was erupting, not one in La Palma. But blue lava is really cool. And that's stuff that when sulfur combusts, you actually get blue lava, the blue glow.
Yeah, that's what happens when you light a fart. You get that blue flame.
Well, that's methane.
Same difference.
Not exactly at all.
You couldn't even run with the joke, could you, Mark?
No,
Just had to
no, I
ruin it
can't.
with your science.
I can't do that.
Damn
Come on, man. Methane,
Jesus.
CH4. Okay.
Mr. Methane.
So, that guy is ridiculous. You know what? You should put up a clip of Mr. Methane right now on this stream.
Mr. Methane. We sat up at Bill's house and watched that, just giggling like a bunch of schoolgirls for an hour straight at Mr. Methane just pooting. Oh, it was so funny.
And he wears a cape on top of it.
I know, right? He comes
with a
out like a
green
superhero
mask.
with his butt cheek showing. Horrible.
No, they're not showing. They're
Oh,
behind it.
weren't they?
They're behind very tight-fitting leotards.
Even worse.
Even worse.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh,
Moon's over my hammy.
exactly.
Which is actually what you're watching, people, is the moon over my hammy.
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
And we're still 64 degrees in the sky, so we're still way up there.
Yeah.
I mean, we topped out, I think, at 82 degrees, I think, was zenith. If I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. I'm just looking through the chat right here.
What's
Yeah.
that right good answer, Paul? We have blue lava. Did Paul answer a question?
Where?
That was from who
Paul
said
has
it?
a different YouTube channel like every week. I can't even keep up.
People Love Skulls said it.
Yeah, Paul is actually, I think it's like Paul Corvette now. He was in here earlier.
Laura Newbert's asking, will I be at the MUFON conference in July? Yes, I will.
Yes, you
I'm
will. I'll be
going
there
to
as
be,
well.
I will be teaching. Yeah, I wish you would.
I'll be there.
Yeah?
Where, in Arizona?
No, it's going to be in Las Vegas.
Oh, I get to be your roadie, right?
No, it's going to be in Denver. I'm sorry.
I can be your roadie.
Yeah.
Give me a
You
credit
can
card or something so I can...
go out and buy water for everybody.
Oh, no, you said it was in Vegas. I thought maybe I get a stipend.
No, it's actually in Denver.
Oh. Well, what's in Denver? Just get high off the weed smoke.
Well, that's Boulder.
It's Boulder, all right. A lot bolder than the weed around here.
Yeah.
Everybody having a good night? See, we still got a lot of people watching.
I know.
Haven't turned y'all off yet.
No, that's because they kind of like the interaction between us, I think.
Yeah. Well,
You know, I mean, this isn't my channel, but you invite me to be on once in a while, so I like coming on and hanging with you.
why is that word so funny? Biscuit.
You said biscuit.
No, I'm serious. I don't know why I find that word so funny. Maybe because like back in the day, like talking about whisker biscuits. Just that combination of words just is funny.
Well, that's a bad thing.
No, of course it is, but I'm just saying. I mean, tell me that's not a funny term. Say it. Try saying it once.
I can't say it once.
Do it.
I can't.
Just try saying it once.
I can't.
Whisker biscuit. I mean, come on. It just rolls off the tongue. Literally.
Yeah.
Gross.
I mean, I've heard of a whisker brush.
I don't know. I just find it's a funny term.
There's also a biscuit whisker.
A biscuit whisker.
There is. You know.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah, it's a patented.
Well, you can't get a whisker biscuit. You get a biscuit whisker.
It's a patented arrow rest with synthetic bristles.
Bet you makes good biscuits, too.
It doesn't have anything to do with biscuits.
Fluffy biscuits.
What?
I think it's getting too late. We're starting to lose it.
What did you say?
By the way, this is me and Mark, like, after the stream. We just sit here and giggle like a bunch. That's stupid terms. Welcome
Wow.
to a sneak peek behind the scenes.
There's a
What's the
YouTube
topic tonight, Mark? Whisker
There's
biscuits.
There's a YouTube video called "How to Properly Use a Whisker Biscuit."
Yeah, I'm gonna put that on the channel tomorrow.
It's for bow hunters, though.
Whisker biscuits for the masses.
It's a bow hunter.
Well, UFOs just aren't around tonight. Marawilla Madukatua. I don't know. That's probably
Marawilla.
totally messed that up.
Marawilla.
Marawilla.
Maduka-
See, I don't see. That's my
Madukatawa.
problem. When I read these names, I don't know if they're like have silent letters.
Marawilla Madukatawa.
Is it Marawilla?
Marawilla might be, yeah. Well, it's actually one L, so it's Marawilla, probably.
Oh, Madukatua, I think. Maduka that sounds right. Maybe it's Marawea. It
I
might be
think it's
Marawea.
I think it's Marawila
Okay.
because it's one L, not two. But,
Well, hey,
Marawila goes
Marawea or Marawela, just put in Wa or La for your first name, and we'll see who's right.
All right.
Yeah, I like to get people's names right at least.
Yeah, and the two L's in Spanish, for instance, which this is not, is a Y sound. But one
Right.
L
That's true.
is supposed to be. It's such L, and the I comes before it, so it's Ila, like eel,
Yeah.
il, and we're probably not pronouncing it any way correctly.
Yeah, probably not. Probably just messed that up. We got
Actually,
long-
it might be Mudu Katawa,
What are you talking about?
the last name.
No, I bet you it's Madukatawa. Madukatua.
Maybe. Mudu Katawa.
No, Madukatua. It almost sounds Hawaiian.
Mudu Katawa. Mudu Katawa, like that.
See, this is where the
This is
stream
why
goes
we-
after
this-
midnight.
Well, this is what we need to. There we go.
Okay, it is Marawilla, not Marawilla. Wait, what? Now I'm even more confused. Marawia? Marawilla? Like la? Like L-A? Or pronounced with a I-A? I don't know. What the hell am I talking about? Hey, you know what? I'm just going to say Mara. Problem solved.
Okay, well, fair enough.
And who knows what canoodles means?
Yep, the stream goes down that path.
Canoodles.
Yep.
I never understood it. English is so weird. Like, why do we have letters that we put in there that are just silent?
English is one of the hardest languages to learn, actually, because it has so many modes to its letters.
Yeah. Like, why? Why silent letters? It's just like they wanted to screw with people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to knock on your door, but let's just throw a K there.
Yeah.
It's like, why?
Well, if you want to knock.
Yeah. Please come knock on my door. The Three's Company. Oh, that would be a whole different song. And an extra syllable in there.
Marawia is in Sri Lanka.
Come and knock on my door. We'll be waiting for
It's comb. Comb
Sri
can knock
Lanka,
on my comb can knock on my door.
Yes, the color contrast is real. There is color on the moon.
Why you dude just show the color, just enhance the color just a little bit.
I don't know if Paul has the color on. I can try to bring it out a little bit if he does.
I see it. I see it's on.
Okay, there you go. I don't know. Oh wait, no wonder. I don't have the thing on. There we go. All right, now that's on just like that. There we go.
See above left to center. That
What I'll
lava
do
is
here is
definitely brown.
I'll give you your what the moon actually looks like.
Just slightly, slightly higher.
Oh, you just let me handle this, Mr. Astronomer.
Well, that's fine.
You stick with your stars. I'm just bringing it out so people can see it, and then I'll show them what it naturally looks.
Okay.
And there you go. There's a poofy picture for you, and then if you want to know what it actually looks like, dun, 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 dun. Let me set this like that. There we go. Just there we go.
But I want people to see the actual really reddish soil. Okay, drop the gamma a bit. I want to show them the soil.
Drop your gamma a bit.
Hey,
you want to see something cool?
I really like star science. Very good. I'm glad you came.
Go.
If you really like star science, then you got to visit SkyTour Livestream too.
Yep.
And SkyTour Livestream is a deep sky observatory. We run that on clear nights out in Arizona. We have a telescope in the Arizona desert. I run it remotely from all the way across the country in Connecticut, actually. So join us there, and I'll put the link in. It's youtube.com/ and then my name. There you go. So that's where you can go to see SkyTour Livestream. Come on in and join us. Subscribe. Become part of our SkyTour family. We love having you around.
Miley.
Family. Family.
Right.
Yep. I Love it. Come on in.
Starting to get chilly down there.
Where?
Chilly to Paul is like 72 degrees.
Where's it getting chilly?
That's what he just told me. He said it's getting cold
Oh.
down there. He was putting the big scope away for the night.
Okay, well, I can imagine it's not going to be too exciting. Can you up the contrast slightly so you can actually get rid of the, show this a little bit. Looks like it's behind clouds right now. So just that's a little too high. Silly rabbit.
Hold on, let me set it back to the.
However, if you look below
There-
center,
There you go. Merry
okay,
Christmas.
if you look just below center, you can see the different colors of those Maria, the lavas that have come up. There's a different chemistry, but it's also been changed not just because of what it's composed of, but because of its time under the UV light, basically, of the sun. UV light of the sun changes things to different colors. So some lavas are older than others.
Yeah, the just like what is it? The darker colors got baked longer.
Yeah, I think that the redder colors have been baked longer. Yeah.
If you want to reset our retinas real quick?
If you dare,
No, seriously, you want to?
sure.
Yeah, we'll go to red. We'll go to red screen. Everybody just stare at the screen for 10 seconds. It'll relax your eyes, and then I'll put it back to this view, and everything will seem a little more clear and a little more crisp. Sometimes your eyes get tired from looking at all this, so yep, just keep on looking at the screen. Stare at the red. Let your eyes relax a little bit.
Okay. Who said it? Prow? No. Okay. Canoodles. The dark circle center left. That's actually the Mare Imbrium Basin. That's a site of an ancient giant impact. Okay, and you don't still have that text box with the here on it, right? You'll have to move.
I sure do. Where do you want it?
At that spot.
What spot?
The Imbrium Basin. Show the Imbrium Basin
Oh,
for canoodles.
hold on.
Just go to the right and a little bit
I'm getting
down
there.
from
Hold on.
Plato.
I
My goodness, you're just so full of complaints today.
Exactly. There. That's the Imbrium Basin, that whole area over there. Site of an ancient impact. And it was back when the moon was a lot more molten inside, so that when the impact struck, a lot of lava inside came out and flowed over the surface. And just to the left of that, you can see what looks like a bay. Okay, slide the here over. Okay, you can see a little bay there, a little bit to its left. And that little bay is actually a site that used to be a crater, but it was filled in when lava breached. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay, here we go.
Pay no attention to me, the man behind the curtain. Continue.
Yes, the man behind the curtain. Yeah. But this was an ancient lava extrusion from the fact that a giant impactor struck and flooded. So what it did was, when it struck, it actually filled this entire area and killed and destroyed probably several hundred to 1,000 or more craters that we'll never know were there. Yep.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay, you can get rid of the here now. Bring it to the hereafter.
Yeah.
Sure.
Don't mind
Yep.
me. I'm just playing around.
That's okay. I just can't wait to see what you're coming up with next. There's Tycho.
Nothing major.
Tycho, the crater that has the longest moon. Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's late.
I'm
for
helping
Keith.
people remember parts of it.
Yes. They're going to remember that. They're not going to remember Tycho crater. Well, point to Clavius if you're going to do that.
Okay. Here.
Hey, Kevin, how are you? Kevin says, hi, everybody.
All right, hold on. Let me.
Well, it ain't
I
there.
can't see because I got a bunch of squares on my on the feet. Well, how did I lose Clavius?
uh,
Is it even in view?
It's the contrast, my friend. Go to your right a little. And go down a little.
All these squares. Air.
Okay.
I hate you, Mark. Here, let me make this easy.
Okay. You can zoom in on that, you know. Okay. Saturn's rings, if you ask questions about space, that's perfectly okay. The moon. Very good.
Just in case anybody was confused. How much of the surface is just solid rock? I'd probably say about 100%. 99.6%.
Yeah, I see. I look at Tycho Crater, and I agree with Prow and the others. This looks more like an orange navel, like a navel of an orange.
Yeah.
Okay. Copernicus is acne on the face, kind of a thing, you know. Yep. This contrast shows those rays very, very well as well. That's really nice.
Pretty predominant.
Yep.
Our pretty moon.
Luna. It has a name.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mark. It being 12:30, we can wrap up our segment here, and we can just.
Oh, good. I didn't know how to tell you. I wanted to go to bed.
I kind of figured. I mean, it's not like you're an astronomer or anything. It should be up at nights, but that's okay. Do you, buddy?
Yeah, no, I was actually trying to see if it was actually clear out west. We had a little bit of clouds that showed up, and when the moon is this bright, it can really, a little bit of clouds can really ruin the night.
Yeah.
And right now we have high clouds out there right now. We have 300 clear nights a year out in Arizona at the observatory. So it can get crazy. I mean, we've streamed for like a week or more in a row every night, looking at different things every time. It's just beautiful.
You do a damn fine job, I might say as well.
Well, you know, I wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for you making.
Yeah, I know, I'm special.
You know, yeah, you are.
Go ahead, say it. I'm the man. I get it.
Yes, you're special.
Either way, we'll wrap up with Mark D'Antonio tonight so he can get his little
Yay!
night in. And we'll stay on for a little bit longer, just streaming, you know, see if anything crosses with this wide field for a couple minutes. And then we'll end the stream after that. But
I haven't seen anything. I'd love to see a Starlink train cross the
yeah,
face
that'd
of
be
the
kind of
moon.
cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Mark, thanks again for coming on and hanging out with me once again.
That's okay. Great to see you, man. Great
Always
to see
fun
all
times.
of you guys.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure I'll be attacking the Sky Tour live stream sometime soon. Sure.
Well, you're always welcome there. You know?
Of course.
Yeah.
I'll come in and kind of take over things. And Mark tells me to shut up and get out, and, you know, then I'm good for a month.
Yeah, I don't ever do that to you.
Well, it feels like it. So.
Yeah, right.
All right, everybody. Once again, you can check Mark out. Mark's everywhere. Turn on the Travel Channel or Discovery Channel or on Paramount Network. You'll see him floating around on there, from NASA's Unexplained Files to Aliens on the Moon to what's the other ones?
Proof is out there.
What on Earth? Proof is out there. Yeah, all that good stuff. If you're watching UFO documentaries and stuff like that on any of those channels, there's a good chance you're going to see Mark's face pop up there. And now, if you haven't seen him or heard him before, you're definitely going to recognize the voice when it comes on your television. That'll be him.
And don't throw anything in your television. I'm really sick of buying people televisions.
Tell me about it. He's bought me 4 already. It's very
Well,
creepy waking
just
up
don't
in the
know how
middle
to
of the night and hearing like one of your. I'm still not used to you being on television, so I wake up at like 3 a.m. and I'm hearing your voice, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. Did he break into my house? What a freak!
Yeah, I break in your house to do image analysis.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's the only place I can do it is your house.
Well, anything's better than that dude from Ancient Aliens. Not the
Oh,
hair
jeez.
guy because he's just annoying as it is, but the dude that talks weird. What's his name?
Oh, I don't know.
Like once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Okay.
What's the other guy on Ancient Aliens?
I don't know, actually.
Because he talks like that.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that kind of talk.
What's his name? Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know, but once you think you're just listening to somebody normal, and then once you hear it for a long time, you're like, wow, I can't unhear him doing that.
Well, okay.
It's like, I believe we're there. And I'm like, oh.
Well, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I forget the guy's name, but
That's
it
right.
drives me insane. Like every time I
Yeah.
watch that show, I become a mental patient.
You know, Ancient Aliens called me to come on a show one time, and they were going to fly me to Los Angeles to do this piece or whatever.
Yeah, well, take a comb with you and brush that dude's hair.
It's, oh my God, can you imagine I get kicked out?
Get him some mousse.
So they called me the week before they wanted to do this thing. So they tried to put it together. It didn't work. So what they did was they licensed footage of me from other productions that I had done
Sure.
and put it on the episode.
That's what they do.
Yeah, and they made it look like I had done Ancient Aliens. So people called me and said, "Hey, you were on Ancient Aliens." I go, "No, I haven't. I've never worked for Ancient Aliens." "No, you were this episode." So I went, "Yeah, there I am."
Oh, you signed your life away during the.
You know what? You know how it is. You sign a release, an appearance release,
Mm-hmm.
and then you sign away any kind of rights to any future usage of your appearance.
Yep.
And that covers, in that fine print, it says they can sell and license the footage to other people, and they do.
And they definitely do.
Yeah, but that's all right.
Either way, my friend, go have a good night.
All right.
We will talk to you another time. And I'll probably talk to you tomorrow, actually. So.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Everybody, Mark D'Antonio.
Hey, guys, thanks a lot. Make sure you check out Skytour live stream, subscribe, hang out with us. Clear nights in Arizona and in Connecticut. We have an observatory on each coast, so it's really cool. All right.
Guys, we'll be listening to music, checking out the moon for a little bit longer, and then we'll end the stream after that. I hope everybody has a wonderful night.
Oh, bye,
And,
Keith.
oh, hi, Mark. And hopefully we'll get another one in this weekend yet. We'll find out. We might be on tomorrow night. Who knows? But enjoy the rest of the moon for the rest of the time that we're on. Mark, thank you once again.
All right, brother. We'll see you guys later.
See you later.